Hey, this is Different Careers with Kate Nudd. We are on chapter 10. I'll probably do two videos because I'm just going to show you the video of this chapter. It basically goes over paperwork that you need your client to fill out, and I figure it's probably more interesting watching the videos from this book than having me go page by page and look at all the pictures. So again, I'm not doing everything for every chapter. If it has a video, maybe sometimes I go over the chapter through a video and do a video. Not all the chapters have a video. So let's get started. So again, on chapter 10, treatment planning, intake assessment, and documenting. So to start, that's something after I graduated, it seemed like they went over it a little bit in school, but I wasn't sure exactly like, I mean, it was like, oh, okay, I knew you had to do sub notes, which was like, okay, document, okay, this is what the client did before the massage, what they were saying their problems were. This is your assessment of what you felt. This is what you did. This is your plan of what you would recommend. Get more massages, drink plenty of water, show them stretches to do, stuff like that. So I was aware of that, but they didn't really clearly go over or it wasn't clear, or it didn't seem like you did that all the time of like, oh, this is how you make your own intake form for new clients, and you're like, this is their address, this is their name, this is their phone number, these are the health conditions. So I was like, when I graduated, I was like kind of thrown into my own practice. Initially, I wanted to work for someone else to start and then maybe do my own practice later down the road. But it ended up being do my own practice first, then work for somebody else. And I ended up making more money working for someone else because you just had more consistent clients. But it was like, spas don't really believe in true health. They believe in chemicals, not plant-based products only. So, treatments didn't work for me. For esthetician services, it ended up being massages didn't really work for me in the end. And bodywork stretches, it seemed like, we're in this super negative environment where it's like people can speak negativity over you. So it's like they were cursing massages not to work. They were cursing stretches not to work. And I took a bath today and someone cursed the bath not to relax my feet. So it's a hit or miss whether health services are actually going to help me, because you have people speaking negativity over your body and causing health problems. So if that's the case of what's going on, it's like, well, you're never going to get well, because as long as people can curse you behind your back or speak negative words over you to make you sick, then it's like, okay, that is the root issue of the health problems that we all really have. So it's like, if people are claiming to have health problems, it's probably because they spoke a curse over themselves, someone else spoke a curse over them, or they're pretending to have a health issue and they really don't. So that seems to be the root issue of what's going on. But anyways, I was taught, afterwards more by someone else, and they're like, hey, this is your intake form. And there was a list of real diseases and everything, and it wasn't on the form, hey, are you pretending to have these diseases? Because if you're pretending to have these diseases, then you're going to treat someone different versus if they have them for real. So I was treating everyone that checked certain diseases off like they really had the disease. and I was treating the people like they really had the disease. So that's probably not the case, because people have given me tons and tons of false information concerning religion, the education system, diseases and health, because it's like it just makes sense that people are cursing me and speaking negativity over me, and that's why I have so many health problems that are real, and they expect me to be able to speak a blessing over myself and like counter their negative words that they're speaking over me. But it's like, well, you kind of have to be able to speak properly in order to do that effectively. And so it's like I get stuck with real health conditions. So that's where I am. And again, you have a false religious system, and everyone's like, this is the true religion. But if you actually read it, it's like, it's probably definitely false, because why would everyone want to be genetically related to each other? But like, that's the main religion that everyone teaches. Like, we all came from one individual only, and I'm not gonna really get into that. So this is massage, so we're gonna be more massage focused. But it's like, well, it's kind of the way this book is religion, intellectual knowledge, your body, your mind, your emotions, your feelings and sensations in your physical body that you feel. It's all connected to one another, you know? So that's why I really thought, like, going into massage therapy, you would be able to talk about every topic. And then literally you had clients that are like, I'm not open-minded to talk about everything, you know? And it was like, well, and then people are like, well, you're gonna attract like-minded people. So I was like, well, how come I'm not attracting any like-minded people? So I keep coming to the conclusion, well, there must be a mess up with the language. There must be misinformation that's been given to me. And so I'm not able to really communicate with anyone. And so I'm doing my best, but people want to continue to talk to me in and communicate as things are, like everything's fine and dandy when it's not. So I don't think we're really communicating. So it is what it is. So let's get to this treatment planning, intake assessment, and documentation. And like I said in other videos, it would have been nice to know if like a client is okay talking about certain topics. You have a basic list of topics of like, what kind of topics are you okay talking about? So instead of like people saying, oh, you can't talk about religion, you can't talk about politics. Well, maybe someone does want to talk about politics and religion. Okay, so you could be like, are you comfortable talking about politics or religion? You know? Okay. State your denomination or your religious belief, right? So, talk about their religion, right? Okay. Politics. Oh, well, what are your political views? Okay. Please write down your main political views so I know where you stand, so you can be more client focused, right? The weather, as far as talking about the weather, it's not a very long conversational piece of information if you want to talk about the weather. So if like you went out and went walking or kayaking and you did something in the weather, then it's like, well, you're technically talking about that activity that you did in good weather if it is available. So, like another thing is like, what kind of subjects do you read? What kind of subjects do you enjoy? So it's like, talk about those things. What are your hobbies? Okay. So ask people about their hobbies. What do you do for a career? Then you can have conversations. If they don't want to talk about it, then it's like, okay, like it could be a stress thing, so they're trying to relax, so they may not want to talk about their job or their family or whatever. So that would have been a nice thing to know about. And no one went over that in massage therapy school, and it would have helped me out a lot uh, to handle clients differently. So let's get started.
Tips for documenting during the interview. The therapist's name and signature, along with the date of the session, should always be on the form. Use blue ink color. Currently, blue is the preferred ink color for documentation of client records, as it differentiates an original from a fax or a photocopy. But more importantly, the color ink should be consistent from initial treatment till release. Correct errors with a single line and initials, avoiding correction fluid and tape. Be careful with abbreviations and use of symbols. One reason to document is that this information may be shared with others. SOB might offend someone, even though it often means shortness of breath. Write legibly. Documentation that cannot be read is worthless. Use sentence fragments to highlight the information gained from the client as well as objective assessments, but be sure it makes sense to the reader. Use direct quotes when applicable. Keep in mind scope of practice. You can make observations of a client, but you cannot diagnose a condition. For example, anxiety is a medical diagnosis. You can report when the client says, "I feel stressed out."
Okay, so the ink thing I didn't abide by. I used black or blue. You can tell when someone writes versus a standard printer. So again, I ended up doing black ink for printer forms and stuff like that. So at one point I did have like written documents, and then I went with an online service because it was just too hard to keep all the paperwork. But I liked the written better. However, like I wrote legibly. Clients came in and they wrote very sloppy. So I had to ask them how to spell their name all over again because they didn't print clearly. So it was like a whole bunch of people went to school and they don't even know how to write clearly so you can read their name on paperwork. It was like hopeless. So in the end, it was like on the line intake form of the diseases and everything. That was a way better, easier way to do it in a way. And then you didn't have to save all the paperwork. So that's what I ended up switching over to eventually. But it was like even doctors and nurses, they wrote so sloppy that you couldn't read their handwriting, and then they expected you to be able to care for people. And it's just like, you're supposed to be a professional, and you don't care about making sure the written stuff is readable. And that means someone could get the wrong medication. Like, it was really bad. So again, that's, I guess, one of the signs that I had of you're in a super negative environment. No one cares to do an effective, good job. Everyone's gonna write sloppy. They don't care about writing clearly, so you can do the best job you possibly can. And so literally everyone probably could read my handwriting, but it's just like they chose to accuse me of stuff. And it's like, okay, what's going on in society? Maybe people didn't actually go to school, and they said they did. So who knows? Anyways, I found it was more a client issue. It was everyone else not reading and printing clearly. I could not read other people's handwriting. I really could only read my own, and or like, stuff that's printed from a computer. So I had like check this box was really what it is, and people wrote down medications, but it's like the name of the medication was so long, and it's like, well, I really just needed a list of I'm taking medication that controls does this for me and does this for me and does this for me. I don't actually need the name of the medication, because it's like I'm not going to memorize the name of the medication. It's just like, what does your medication do for you in your body? That's going to help me. And it's like they expected me to remember the medications they were taking and what the medications do, and it's like, well, I'm not a doctor, I'm a massage therapist. So it is what it is. Okay, next one.
From the moment a client enters the therapist's office until the time he or she leaves, the massage experience is literally and figuratively in the therapist's hands. Client experience depends on the therapist's communication skills, critical thinking skills, and hands-on skills. During the client's initial session, time is spent gathering client information, obtaining consent for therapy, performing assessments, and devising a plan of care. This is vital for a safe practice. The plan of care, or treatment plan, is the map used to set the course of the client's session. Without the map, the session might not have a satisfactory outcome. To create this map, the therapist must collect and document client information. This information is needed to create a holistic picture of the client's health. Documentation, or written word, is the communication of choice in all professional arenas. Systematically collecting and documenting client information sharpens the therapist's critical thinking skills. Through documentation, the therapist can confirm his or her educated assessments, choice of modalities, decisions to avoid or focus on an area, and pressure judgments. Equally, and in some cases more importantly, is the interview following the written intake. Not only can a written intake form be filled out incorrectly, but some people do not attach significance to certain medical conditions, such as skin rashes and allergies to nuts and plants. It is not until questions are asked by the therapist that a client is properly screened for massage and contraindications are ruled out. Let's start from the beginning, when the client enters your office. After greeting the client, escort him or her to a quiet area with adequate lighting for reading and writing. The client is given a writing utensil and the intake form on the clipboard to complete. While the client is filling out the form, be available for questions. If the client is unable to fill out the form, data may be obtained by the therapist by asking questions and writing down the client's responses on the intake form. The therapist's signature is needed to indicate that he or she assisted in completing the form. Once these initial documents are handed back to the therapist, a pre-massage interview is conducted. During the interview, information such as the primary purpose of the session and personal likes and dislikes will be disclosed. The rapport developed during the interview goes a long way in establishing a positive working relationship that often results in client satisfaction and continued patronage. The person conducting the client interview is the attending therapist. The location of the interview sets its tone, establishing a productive climate for the exchange of information. This is achieved by an atmosphere of warmth, safety, and comfort. Professional attire demonstrates to the client that the therapist is serious about his or her role. A healthy client with no specific complaints does not require a lengthy interview, only about 4 minutes. In contrast, a client coming to receive massage for a recent injury or painful symptom may need a lengthier discussion and a focused evaluation of posture, gait, or range of motion. Keep in mind that a client may not want to spend more than a total of 10 minutes filling out a health questionnaire and being interviewed while the therapist reviews and clarifies health information requested. The trick is to be thorough and fast.
So, next one, interview skills.
Interviewing skills can be developed to increase the success in obtaining client information during the interview while setting the stage for an enjoyable experience for both the client and therapist. These include: sit facing the client at his or her eye level. This helps to create an atmosphere of interaction and rapport. Consider the background or education of the client. Use words that are understood by the client. Anatomical names and medical terminology may be inappropriate for clients who do not have the background or training in these areas. Don't lose control of the interview. This can occur when the client strays to other topics. Use open and close-ended questions. Open-ended questions offer little restriction when answering and allow the client to reflect and to clarify his or her own thoughts and feelings, thus producing more accurate, subjective information. Closed-ended questions are more direct and require a yes or no response, helping to keep the client focused on the interview. Examples of closed-ended questions are you thirsty? Or would you like a blanket to help keep you warm? Examples of open-ended questions are: how can I help you be more comfortable? What brings you to the clinic? Tell me about it. Anything else? Listen carefully, asking reflective questions if needed. These restate the answer given by the client to check and see if the therapist heard it correctly. Types and examples are: to learn more about a patient's viewpoint, ask, "Can you tell me more about that?" To clarify a muddled point, ask, "I'm not sure if I understand. Would you explain further?" To clarify a vague point, ask, "Would you give me an example of that?" If a patient doesn't understand or know how to answer a question, say, "I'll repeat the question for you. The question was," then pause. Use silence. Silence has many benefits. It gives the client time to talk, think, and gain insights, allowing the therapist to acquire a greater understanding of his or her client. Use this technique judiciously to avoid giving the feeling of disinterest or judgment. Signal your interests. This is conveyed by maintaining eye contact and by occasional nodding or using appropriate facial expressions that coincide with the tone of the message. Neutral phrases or sounds such as "really," "uh-huh," "I see," and "okay" show interest and encourage communication. Even though documentation is taking place, balance note-taking with maintaining eye contact with the client. Avoid glancing at the clock or ruffling through papers as if you were in a hurry.
Now, again, this is for new clients, the initial forms that they need to fill out. And then you're not really doing an interview. You're really discussing like the diseases that they claim to have, or what they want to get out of their massage, different things like that. So once you have that information, some people were like, okay, you need to update this information every year, especially if you're not seeing the clients on a regular basis, like, because, someone could have moved, the phone number could have changed, or something, or their health conditions could have improved, where they're healing or getting worse. So you might need that updated questionnaire filled out, because then you have to adjust how you massage your clients. So Again, this is initial new clients is really what they're talking about, but they're not clearly explaining that in the videos.
When beginning the actual interview, ask the client for their completed form. Use questions related to the assessment domains, or PPALM, to gather and organize client information and to establish an appropriate plan of care. Answers to these questions create the map used for a treatment plan. PPALM stands for Purpose of Session, Pain and Discomfort, Allergies and Skin Conditions, Lifestyle and Vocation, Medical and Health Information. These 5 assessment domains encompass observable and palpable data, as well as information from direct client inquiry, so it includes both subjective and objective information. As each assessment domain is discussed with the client, the therapist documents information on a sheet of paper, most often the backside of the client intake form. Even though some information requested is listed on the client intake form, the therapist will return to the information even if the comment is, "So, Mr. Brown, I see that you do not have any health conditions that would affect your massage today," pausing for his reply. The therapist can place this information on a PPALM diagram. The idea is to put the information down in a way that helps the therapist to see how to best serve that particular client. If there is nothing to report in a particular domain, place a symbol instead of leaving it blank to indicate that the domain was addressed with the client. The length of time and depth of the interview is determined by the session's purpose, which is the first question the client answers. Note that these assessment domains go hand in hand with a massage practice, as does the acronym PPALM, referred to as PPALM, a 2-syllable word. Since massage therapists have a broad practice spectrum ranging from wellness to rehabilitation, information within each assessment domain varies from general and nonspecific to detailed and precise. Let's look at the assessment domains more closely. Purpose of session. The first thing to document is the client's reason for wanting massage or her chief concern today. Be clear about what motivated today's visit. What must happen for the client to be satisfied? Are her expectations reasonable? If you do not understand the client's goals, you will not meet her expectations and probably will not get another chance. Pain and discomfort. This assessment domain concerns the subjective reporting of the client's pain. Guidelines are often used in which pain can be assessed. To help remember these guidelines, use the acronym OPPQRST. This stands for Onset. When did it start? Provocative. What makes it worse? Palliative. What makes it better? Quality. How would you describe the pain? Radiation. Does the pain radiate? Site. Where does it hurt? Timing. When did the pain start and how often does it hurt? When asking a client to describe the quality of the pain, a 1 to 10 point pain scale can be used, with 10 being the worst. Qualitative descriptors can be used, such as mild, moderate, and severe. Other descriptors may be sharp, dull, or tingling. This should be recorded for each session to develop a graph or trend of improvement or exacerbation. Allergies and skin conditions. This domain includes questions, observations, and palpations regarding skin pathologies, such as rashes, boils, acne, impetigo, temperature, color, bruises or varicosities visible on the skin, sensitivities to smell, such as cleaning products or aromatherapy, allergies to any ingredient in massage lubricant, such as nuts, or any plant from which an essential oil may be derived. Lifestyle and vocation. Factors that contribute to this domain are occupation, leisure, stress level, nutrition, and regular exercise. Include assessment questions that ask how the client is using her muscles daily. Assess general soft tissue health by asking about regular exercise or sports activity. Habits such as diet, fluid intake, inadequate sleep, or use of tobacco and alcohol affect tissue health. Questions about these issues help the client begin to make connections between how she feels and her lifestyle choices. When asking a client, "How's your stress level?" she may indicate a high level of stress. If so, your treatment plan might include some stress reduction massage, which may mean suggesting that the client schedule a longer massage in the future. Medical and health information. Using the medical information from the client intake form, paraphrase any medical conditions to the client. This will help to determine contraindications for massage. Ask the client to explain in detail about any unfamiliar conditions or medications. Keep in mind that certain medications can cause symptoms. Other information to include would be specific medical events such as surgeries and their purpose, accidents and injuries, medications including over-the-counter and herbal supplements and their purpose.
So again, I use a system called Soap Notes. So it was basically, um, basically, I forget what S and O and everything stood for, but it's basically ask the questions of like, what does the client want to get out of the massage? What are their health conditions with the intake form? Then observe, like, how did their muscles feel? Were there any bruises? Were there any rashes? Did you have to skip anything? Okay, where's the muscle tension? Where are the trigger points? Where are the knots, the muscle knots that you need to work out? Then it was then it was like, what did you actually do? What type of massage did you do? What areas did you work longer? Or it's like, where it was like, okay, addressed knots or work certain areas a little bit longer where you felt the muscle tension, or where the client was complaining of having sore muscles or whatever. And then did you do a full body? What was the length of the actual massage? What type of massage modality did you give? Depending on what services they offered, if they were extra services, did you do any of the extra services like hot stones or Thumper Mini Pro, which is a vibrator muscle tool to help loosen up the muscles? Did you do any stretches in the massage? Where did you stretch the client? And then if you showed stretches afterwards, what stretches you gave the clients to do as homework. And then make them do them after the massage, obviously telling them to drink plenty of water and stretch or exercise in the meantime. So that was kind of the documentation process that I did, and it was Soap Notes for short, or SOAP for short. So I'll probably take a picture and upload it as the picture for this video. So do you have any massage related questions? Feel free to comment in the comment section below. This is also why it's important for clients to come early, because if you're a new client, you need to fill out paperwork, because the licensed massage therapist is not going to be able to give you the massage you want or need unless you fill out this paperwork. And again, if you've never had a massage before, it's very important that you understand one area of the body will be undraped at a time only, and certain areas of the body you do not massage at all, because it's inappropriate. It's not allowed it's against the law. So that means breasts and the gender organs, that area. So yes, if I were to be a massage therapist all over again, I would be stricter in how I see clients, where you get a clothed table massage first, because I need to know that when clients come back, that they understand that one area of the body is gonna be undraped only at a time, and they need to understand certain things. And then it's like, well, I'd have a disclosure probably for every massage. Do you want to talk during this massage? And if they want to talk, they say yes, no, okay, what do you want to talk about? Probably for each massage. So that way I have legitimate proof of, okay, here's documentation of this person wanted to talk, this person didn't want to talk, and these are the rules in place for this specific massage. So then I know it would be easier to give the client what they want to do for each massage going forward of, do they want to talk, do they not want to talk, right? And this is what they're okay talking about today. They're not okay talking about certain subjects or whatever. So stay away from those subjects. That's probably what I would do before each massage in the future, just so where I know the talking boundaries, because, people can say, I'm okay talking about everything, okay? But they may not actually mean they're okay talking about everything. So, I'm sorry, but if a client complains and they write a bad review, you could also put a disclaimer. Okay, if you write a bad review about me online, I will show this documentation of what you approved for a conversation during a massage. So, and then you put that picture of that documentation online or whatever. So, and it wouldn't be any like medical information, just the client's name and, what they said. So it's like, well, if they do not disclose that information to the public, if they complain about your massage, then it's like, okay, well, you're still going to be able to comment and be like, well, this client probably came recently. This is actually what happened. And you're going to make that statement of like, they agreed to talk about certain subjects, and then during the massage they changed their mind but they didn't communicate that verbally to the licensed massage therapist. So it's like, well, then they shouldn't have checked that box on the form, of stuff they're okay talking about, if they really weren't okay talking about it. So I would be way more strict with my forms, which seems ridiculous because I thought people wanted to live in a society where it's like, if someone says, I'm okay talking about whatever subject, that you could trust that individual to really mean what they say. But, I guess we live in a society where everyone lies, everyone gives false information, they don't believe in telling the truth. So, like, I would suggest licensed massage therapists that you get more stricter with your forms, to save your butt, so to speak, save your back, so to speak, save your emotional energy that you give to these clients, and be like, this is what you verbally told me. This is this form. You check these boxes that you are okay with talking about this. So, for the next massage, if you're not okay talking about religion, okay, then that will be a new form, and we won't talk about religion, because for the next massage, you're agreeing not to talk about religion. But for this massage, you're like, I want to talk about religious concepts. So that came up, right? So, unless things change, but it's like, you know, you never know what people are in the mood to talk about. So, it'd be like keeping that form close. I'm sorry, but before the massage began, you said you didn't want to talk about religion. So, we're not going to talk about religion in this massage session because it's not on your form. Like, that's literally what I needed. Um, to not get in trouble and still be able to talk to certain individuals, because some people seemed really genuine, like they wanted to talk about different things during the massage. So, like, it could be like, what is the current book you're reading? Different things like that. So, I wish I had thought about it before, but it was like people were so hardcore of like, this is how you're supposed to do massage. You have to follow the textbook to the letter. Um, you have to be, and it's like, how many forms do you really, really need? And I was like doing my best to be polite and give people the massage they wanted when it came to conversation or not conversation, talking, not talking, treating, people with the parameters of massage therapy only. And it was just like, I could never give people the massage they wanted. It was like I always did something wrong, or in the end, people are like, what you're doing isn't good enough. And it's just like, I was trying to literally give you the massage you wanted every single time based on what you verbally told me and what you put on your intake paperwork. Like, I don't know what I was doing wrong. But again, it is what it is. You can only do your very best. And I guess, like, my conclusion is, my clients gave me false information. They verbally told me false information of what they wanted to get out of the massage. So maybe the majority of the time, I never actually gave anyone the massage they wanted. And that's why my business did not grow to become successful, because people did not say what they meant. They were not willing to communicate with me. So, in the future, if robots come out on the market and they do a thorough, excellent job of massaging individuals, I am definitely going to invest in one of those robots, buy it, and have that robot give me tons of good, thorough massages. Because literally, when I told other massage therapists, hey, here are my problem areas, um, the majority of the time they focused on other knots than the problem areas that were where I felt chronic muscle tension pain all the time. They focused on these other knots that I didn't feel really. So it was like, I don't know what you're doing, but you didn't do a good job on me. Same with stretching. When I got bodywork stretches, I was like, these are my problem areas. I need these areas stretched, and they didn't do a good job. When I was trying to receive some bodywork stretches with help of other individuals, it wasn't good enough. It didn't really help me. So, again, somebody is probably saying a bunch of curses over me or negative words over me to make it so real health stuff doesn't work when it should. So you can only do what you can do. So I'll continue the next video. As you can see, it was 45 minutes long because I talk about these videos as we went along. So again, if you have any comments in the comment section below, feel free to ask any massage related questions. Please be positive. This is my personal experience. This is what I suggest doing in the future. Comment, don't comment, but please be respectful, because I really did want tons of positive experiences with all my clients, but I guess the clients didn't really want a real, genuine, positive experience with me. So it was a one-sided thing of, I want positivity. I want there to be open-mindedness. I want us to be mutually honest to each other. That was not their intention, I guess, with the majority of the clients that I saw. So again, we live in a superficial society where people say, I love and care about you. How are you doing? And they really don't want to know. Well, if you really don't want to know, you shouldn't ask this question. So they didn't really teach that in massage therapy school, that if you live in a superficial society, what to do if your clients give you false information when they ask you the question, how are you doing? These are appropriate responses, right? Like, what do? You know? Okay, so that would be something I would have on the conversation list in the future. Okay, if you ask me how I'm doing, what do you want to know? Do you want to know how I'm doing religiously? Do you want to know how I'm doing emotionally? Do you want to know how my physical body is and feels? Do you want to know how I'm intellectually doing? Do you want to know how I'm financially doing? Like, you know, do you want to know how my relationships are in real life, where I literally have 0 friends and my only true friend is Snuggles. So, like, do you want to know the truth, or do you want me to tell you false information? You know, do you want me to make up a story? You know, like maybe that should have been on the conversational intake form before each, massage, because then I would know like what people want me to do for them, right? So, because if they don't want the truth, then you need to tell them a lie. But you needed to know that it was okay to tell them a lie of how you were doing. Make up a fantasy life and be like, oh yeah, I'm in love with this significant other. He's so great. He takes me out on dates. We go to restaurants and everything, even though that wasn't happening at all, right? So it's like, what did people want me to tell them? So if they wanted me to tell them a lie, then, like maybe that needed to be on the paperwork, right? You're giving me permission to give you false information about myself, where I don't actually tell you anything at all about what actually is going in my life. Okay? I can make up a story. Yay! So, I don't know. Maybe that should be on the conversation intake form. Anyways, do people really want the truth or do people want to lie? I think my clients really wanted me to lie and make up stuff, but they didn't tell me that. So I should have lied, but I needed permission to lie. That's because I wanted to tell the truth. So if I got permission to lie, then I probably would have been able to handle it a lot better. Because I have an imagination. I could have come up with a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, today for my hobby, I jumped on a whole bunch of clouds. You know? I could have made up a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, today for my hobby, I woke up, ate breakfast. You know what? I climbed the tree. I climbed this gigantic tree. It was so big and huge that it was like climbing a mountain almost. You could see everywhere from miles and miles away. You know, that's what I should have done. I should have made up shit, to talk about. But I needed permission to lie and not tell the truth. So they would have probably been like, this was the most entertaining massage therapist I've ever been to in my whole entire life, if that was something I could do, like, here's my conversation intake form. What do you want to talk about? And be like, do you want me to make up not true life events? Anyways, sorry this video was so long, but again, I'm trying to come up with solutions, positive solutions to the problems that I had in the past with clients not telling me the truth. And so because it's like, the truth is, if you don't know what a client wants from you, then you can't even have the appropriate conversation that they're expecting to have with you, because there isn't communication between the client and the massage therapist. I told people I was not a mind reader. They seemed to think that I really was, and that was not the case face to face at all. And so it came across like they really thought I was a liar, that I wasn't being truthful about what I could and could not do, or whatever, with conversations and stuff like that. So it is what it is. I look forward to today. I look forward to the future, is what I'm really trying to say. When I can get massages from robots that do a thorough job and actually release the muscle tension in my back, and help alleviate the pain in my feet, because I walk like the whole block pretty much every day. And it's like, even though I take a day off or something, it's like, and I'm taking more baths to relax my feet. It's like, oh, my feet hurt, even though I'm not standing all day long or walking the block all day long. My feet hurt, and I'm just like, I don't understand why. So I keep coming to the conclusion, people out there really must be mad at me. They must be very angry. They don't love me. They don't care about me. They're speaking a lot of negative words over me that end up being curses. And so I have these health problems because I tried to do everything right health-wise and it didn't help. So my conclusion is, you have to speak a health blessing over yourself in order to become healed. And that means you have to be able to talk properly. And if you can't talk properly, then you can't say that specific health blessing the right way. And so it doesn't work. So I'm just stuck with these health conditions until I can be re-educated and learn how to talk properly with the 26 letters of the alphabet. So again, I hope you found this video informative. may be helpful if you're going to become a licensed massage therapist, or you're setting up your own practice, or maybe you have your own current massage therapy health practice. Maybe you'll implement some of these strategies into your licensed massage therapy practice or place of business, or maybe even spas may incorporate it into their place of business. So that way, they're saving their licensed massage therapist, and like, we don't want you to get in trouble. So you need to fill out this intake form with each client before the massage. Like, what are you okay talking about? you know you never know, things could change, maybe not. Again, it depends who wants to make their environment way more positive. Who knows? People say they do, but are they gonna really do anything about their environment to make it more positive? I tried and failed. Maybe all of you can make those changes. I was not able to. So that is why I am no longer actively seeing clients. So I'm going to switch to the robot route when it becomes available. So hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time.